Hello card friends, Chaz here. This is Rainbow Reverse. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience in Bushiroad Springfest Online Premium. I'm a little late to uploading this video. I probably should have worked on this the day after or something, but you know, life happens. You can't always get things done in the time that you want them. So I've put a lot of thought into what deck I wanted to play. My gut reaction was to play Dark Irregulars Gastile since I own that deck and would be most likely to win out of all my decks with that. But I decided this was my first ever official tournament for Vanguard since I started playing during the pandemic, so I've only ever really had small locals to play. And also, I don't have a premium scene to play in. I literally just play with Alexi and some of our other friends like Joe and Tori, and some other people at the shop occasionally I play premium matches with, but nothing competitive. So ultimately, I decided against playing Dark Irregulars because I just figured I didn't care about winning, honestly. I wasn't expecting to, and I was like, you know, I'd rather just play a deck that I like and I enjoy playing. And so I went with Royal Paladins, since I'm famously a Royal Paladin player. I went with just like pure MLB build, you know, with Lou and Blaster Blade, obviously, Wingle Brave, Bart Goals, Flogles, you know, getting those combos off using Crystal Luster Dragon with MLB to get those crits and extra drives. Because again, that's just a deck that is one of my favorite decks. It was either between that and some Link Joker build, since those are the two main decks I play when I'm playing Vanguard in general. But I ultimately just decided Royal Paladins because of the attack extenders, so that way if I didn't instantly die against Nue Dio, you know, I'd have a chance to get my own win in. I did not do as terribly as I expected. I walked in being like, I'm gonna lose every single match and it'll be fine. I, however, won 3 of my matches, so there were 7 rounds, so I'm definitely on the losing end, but I figured, you know, 3 wins, 4 losses, my first ever premium tournament where I was certainly playing a deck that is far from the top tier. I thought I did pretty okay. My first round I won against Kaguro. Honestly, I really goofed in that match, and I admit that my loss was strongly my own fault. It was not Blade Master, I was facing Overlord, and I just forgot that Denial Griffin exists, and I made a foolish play that ended up costing me a couple turns later because of getting Denial Griffined. So, it happens. But, second round, faced Nue Dio, and I managed to not die right away. I could have instantly killed them had I checked one more crit in my drive check. I had quad drive and I needed one more crit to just insta-kill for a win, but unfortunately it did not happen, and they got me the next turn. My third round was my first win of the day. It was an Angel Feather deck built around getting to Ultima and then hitting the over trigger on Ultima. So I was able to kind of big brain my way with using Marin, little Great Sage Marin, the G-Guard, to grab Aegis Mare Dragons from my deck to just search PGs basically and avoid dying, and then I was able to get a crush in next turn. So that was my first win. Felt pretty cool to avoid instant death at an over trigger, so you know, that was nice. Round 4, I might be mixing the order of this up, but I believe that's when I faced a Shadow Paladin player. I faced a Luard player. That was a pretty good back and forth in that match. I did manage to win, and I'm not saying it's definitely because I hit an over trigger, but, you know, I hit a Martinoa over trigger, gave, you know, the power to Blaster Blade, and then attacked with Blaster Blade twice at 100 million power, stacking crits on him, so you know, it certainly helped being able to add those crits to Blaster Blade and pull through the win. So I will say the over trigger certainly affected the end, at least in my favor. And then 5th round was actually against another Royal Paladin player. They were playing the Thing Saver MLB deck. They never got the chance to ride Thing Saver. I was able to damage some of them early game, and they weren't really able to get the resources to pull it off. So I was just able to grind them out in that match. So, you know, another victory for me there. So that was cool. Round 6 was against another Luard player, and this was a very, very close match, actually, and I totally made a misplay. I forgot to put Wingle Brave into the soul to grab a blaster from deck because I was like, oh, I don't need it because I've already got my blasters, which was foolish because if I had one more card in my hand, I would have been able to block that final attack and not die, and then I would have had another turn, and my opponent only had like 3 cards in hand, so I would have just been able to, you know, MLB crits extra drive, pull through a win. But like I said, I kind of made a misplay that really cost me the game. So unfortunate, but it happens. You learn from your mistakes. Again, this is my first ever like real, and my first ever premium tournament in general. I don't even have local premium, so you know. 7th round, it was just Nue Dio again, and I instantly died on the first Nue Dio turn. It happens. I wasn't even mad. I was just like, I was on grade 2, and, you know, Nue Dio, full field. So I was just like, yeah, that's what I expected to happen. So it happens. But overall, you know, I had a fun time. It was pretty smooth. I was very nervous just about the webcams and all the etiquette of the online stuff. It was super nerve-wracking. If this were just like an in-person tournament, I would have been a little nervous, but, you know, it would have been whatever, you know, tried to win if I can. If I lose, I lose, you know, that's how I kind of play. But being able to get some wins off and being able to work all the webcam etiquette and procedures off, like, without anything going wrong, you know, I felt very good about it overall. I finished in 46th place out of 114 players, which obviously isn't like anything special, but for me it was like, yeah, I was in more than the top 50%, you know, so I felt pretty good about that, especially again considering that I went in with like a Royal Paladin deck and had never competitively played Premium before, so I was proud of myself in that regard, getting 3 wins. So, you know, as far as what happens next, I am hoping, like many people are, for a very solid ban list in Premium. Look, I play Dark Irregulars, and I know Gas Steel is super toxic, so, you know, hitting that card is fine and fair, and I'm all for it. I don't care for Nue Dio either, so I'm cool to get rid of that card. And then anything that just creates either infinite loops or very, very long loops, like with Taro in Genesis, or doing like the 16 stand Blade Master thing. That stuff's just silly, you know. I agree with anyone who's on the vibe of nerfing that stuff. Solemn Vanguard and Kai from WCC both made very good videos about how they think Premium should be hit to put it into a better state, and I pretty much agree with most of the sentiments that they share in those videos, so you should totally check those out if you were wondering what other people were thinking about the Premium format going forward. Now, I think if these restrictions hit, then the game will be in a really good state, because I really enjoy the casual matches that I have with my friends when we're playing Premium, where we have, like, you know, quote-unquote competitively built decks, just maybe not tier 1, but like the best versions of our decks that we play. I mean, I have like 5 or 6 different Premium decks that I've worked on over the past couple months, and that I just love playing them. So I really look forward to there being more tournaments that I can actually play the Premium format in, and hope that, again, it's put into a more stable and fair state so that way it can just be more fun. Because I think Premium is my favorite Vanguard format, and I know I've only been playing for about a year, so my perspective is only so much. I enjoy Overdress so far. You know, I got into the series obviously with V, but towards the end of V, so it very, very quickly scaled out of control. So I have feelings about V at this point, but I like Overdress so far. But again, just Premium for me is like, oh cool, I like being able to use every card from the game. I like the idea of being able to find all these interesting combinations of cards that you might not have otherwise thought to put together that can create cool interactions. I enjoy all that stuff about Premium. And I also like that decks just don't disappear as much in Premium. Like with V especially, it would be like, okay, the new deck comes out, the old deck is trash now. It's like, you know, as long as it's a good deck, you can keep it a good deck as long as it gets enough type of support over time. And I like that because who doesn't, you know, you get an emotional attachment to a deck or an archetype or something. So being able to keep it at least playable is always really cool to me. So I'm very hopeful about the future of the Premium format and Vanguard as a whole, obviously. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we do. Sadly, I can not participate in the Overdress Springfest this weekend, which really bums me out because I did really want to, because I have been enjoying Overdress and I would like to get myself again back at the competitive table and really try to, you know, grind out the ladder of it, if you will, just to really test my mettle and just see where I'm at as a player. But just again, the way life kind of has worked out, I just unfortunately don't have the time this weekend to be able to make it happen, which is stinky, but it is what it is. Alexi will be playing in the V tournament on Sunday, so look forward to a recap from them on the V tournament. I won't spoil what deck they're playing, but if anyone knows Alexi well enough, it would be very obvious. So yeah, that's everything I really have to say about Premium Springfest from this weekend. I had fun. There are toxic decks. Both exist. Hopefully the format can be put into a less toxic state and we can have more fun with it. And I look forward to future Premium tournaments, and I hope I can get to do some in-person Premium tournaments in the future, because again, the most nerve-wracking thing for me was all the webcam stuff, and oh, what if my camera dies or my internet becomes disconnected? I could live without that stress, personally. Well, thank y'all for watching. This has been Rainbow Reverse, wishing you all the best and a happy Pride Month to all those who will celebrate. Bye!